Right, what's going on? So it's been a couple weeks since I made one of these videos. I mentioned in the last video that I had to get surgery, which I have now done like a week ago, and or 6 days ago, and I've been spending pretty much all my time at home since then. But today is the first day I feel kind of normal. I had to go to the doctor today to get my fucking like nose splints removed, which was horrible. But now I no longer have a deviated septum, I just have some stitches in my nose. But I got some good painkillers, so I'm feeling fucking right. I guess the good news and the bad news is, the good news is I have another week off work. The bad news is that means I have time to make a fucking video for you nerds. Which we're gonna do. I don't really have a theme for this one at all. This was kind of a slapdash job here. I just pulled out some stuff. Actually, half of these were already out. And I just pulled out a couple others to make 7 records in total. One of these actually showed up today, which is the first thing I'm gonna be talking about. But this is what we're listening to. I was struggling to remember if I've played this in a video already, and I don't think that I did. This is Opiated Devil Sperm. Fucking crazy album cover. This is kind of one of those like Grossum Kite-esque projects. I guess you could call it like dungeon synth, but I don't know. It's good shit. I dig it. Alright. If it seems like I'm off, it's because I am. I got this today. It showed up today. I bought this through the Ajna Offensive, but that guy, he was like selling like records from a personal collection. I don't know if it was his or somebody else's, but this record is actually a night from 1996. Like this pressing is from 1996. And it's this. This is Havohej with Unholy Darkness and Impurity. So this was the, I believe, the very first release from Havohej. Originally out in 1993, but this is a fucking, this is the second press of this one from 1996 on Grinding Peace Records. I don't remember, I don't know if the original press of this one was like self-released by the band or something. I know that the original press has a different cover, but that might be the only difference between the presses. I really don't know. I don't have that one. So there's only 3 tracks listed on this, but there's actually 4 if you consider the intro, which I guess is untitled. But Unholy Darkness and Impurity, Behold the Prince of Peace, and March of the 7 Priests of Mockery. All the songs here are pretty short. The longest one is the B-side, is the very last song, March of the 7 Priests of Mockery, and that song's only like 3 minutes. There's 3 songs on the A-side, and that equals like 3 minutes. So, yeah, really short tracks. But I like the spooky intro. I love fucking Paul Ledney's vocals. They're so sort of like distinct, and you know, because of that, it kind of it sticks with you a bit more. This EP definitely has a bit of like an aggressive feeling to the music, which I appreciate, and it's cool to own this too, just because I really love this band. I guess with the exception of the newest album, which I wasn't really a fan of. I've only played it once, and it basically didn't do anything for me. But maybe I'll throw it on again just to see if anything has changed. There is the album cover there. Very typical for Havohej style artwork. There's the back cover right there. This 7-inch is dedicated to John Verica. I did a quick search earlier today to see if I could figure out who that was. And I think it was just a guy who was like in charge of like a fanzine type thing. I might be wrong about that. There wasn't much information that I could find, but what I did find said something about like a video fanzine type deal. This does fold open. I like that image there, very cool. And then this just looks like a bit of an advertisement for Grinding Peace Records. This is just black vinyl. That's what the labels look like, very cool. So yeah, good stuff. You can actually get this EP for relatively cheap on Discogs, so you know, the Havohej collection is missing it. You're not gonna have to drop you know, a crazy amount of money on it or anything. But if you've never heard it, definitely check it out. It's Havohej, Unholy Darkness and Impurity. Holy shit, I talked for fucking 10 minutes just to get through the first 7-inch. I normally do 2 7-inches for these videos, but whatever, you just get one this time. However, the second thing that I'm going to talk about here is something that I'm very, very excited about. I don't have many soundtracks, but I will make exceptions here and there, and this is one of those. This is Killer Klowns from Outer Space. This is probably one of my favorite movies, at least top 20 favorite movies. And the soundtrack, at least according to, I think it was Waxwork, had never been officially pressed before. So Waxwork got the rights, and everything that Waxwork does is very, very nice. And this is absolutely no exception to that. It's kind of hard to talk about the music here because it's an 80s soundtrack, so it sounds like an 80s horror soundtrack. Apart from the very first song on here, is a song called Killer Klowns from Outer Space. It's a song that was done by a band called the Dickies, which is like an American punk rock band from the 70s. It's actually a pretty good song too. But the whole thing is just fun 80s synth music. It's great. So, you know, not really much to talk about in that regard, but I will show you what this looks like because it's fucking gorgeous. I absolutely love the album cover. Just wonderful, man. So, so cool. The spine is like really big as well, which I appreciate. I guess it's not gonna focus. There you go. Very cool. There's the back cover right there. You got Rudy walking the fucking balloon animal and the big circus tent in the back. Very cool. Like I said, this was put out through Waxwork Records. The gatefold is absolutely just awesome, man. I love it. You got Shorty the Clown there in the middle and all of the cotton candy like cocoon things. Very cool. So there were a few different versions of this, kind of like different versions exclusive to like different distributors. And I kind of got basically just what was available to me, which was the Light in the Attic exclusive, which one of the records is like a violet color, and the other one is blue. And I love the popcorn label. Very cool. This also includes like an art print. Fucking so cool, man. I love it. And the other side was like, it's like a little write-up from this guy here. I think is the guy who wrote the soundtrack. Yeah, music composed by John Massari, which is this guy, and another write-up by Stephen Chiodo. Yeah. So yeah, man, I just kind of wanted to pull it out and show it off because it's really nice quality. So this thing right now, if you ever want to get one, might be the best time to do it because they're available right now, kind of. So look it up, it's awesome. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Alrighty, so for the rest of this video, we're gonna kind of stay in like extreme metal territory. And the first thing here is a much needed repress of, I don't know if you would call this a classic death metal album, but definitely like a pretty important death metal album within like the brutal death metal subgenre, I think. This is Skinless with Progression Towards Evil. Yeah, I don't know. Would you consider Skinless kind of like a big name or like an important name in brutal death metal? Because it's always been like, I've always been of the opinion that Skinless kind of did have a bit of skin in the game when it came to like, you know, early-ish brutal death metal. And that's just because like Skinless formed back in 1992, and whether or not you consider this like a classic brutal death metal album, it absolutely is as good as a lot of the albums that would be considered classics, in my opinion. So this is the debut album, like I said, from 1998. But this album had only been pressed once before, I think. And I don't think it was like actually in 1998. I think it was a few years later, in early 2000s, something like that. But I've had it in my want list on Discogs for years. So when Corpse Gristle announced that this would be happening, I was fucking floored, dude. I bought the album Trample the Weak, Hurtle the Dead, the CD version of it, over a decade ago. And around that same time, when I just looking further into Skinless's discography, I loved this album cover. And, you know, I listened to it. Obviously the song Tampon Lollipops caught my attention. Like, Skinless definitely peaked with this album. They're actually still pretty good, which, you know, they've been around for a long time, so that is kind of a surprise. But even the stuff Skinless is putting out these days is good brutal death metal. But I love this album. The bass is very audible. There's lots of kind of chunky moments, almost teetering on slam at parts. I love the sort of over-the-top lyrics, and really the vocals are kind of like over-the-top, just really brutal kind of low growls. There's a few like samples, like movie clip samples on here, which are great as well. Yeah, man, I don't know. I really like this album, and I'm excited to see this finally be repressed after all this time. So there's the album cover there. Skinless has a fucking great logo. Love it. There's the back cover right there. Just all four of the band members. Skinless is a New York band, if I didn't mention it, which I don't think I did. But yeah, man, there's some good songs on here. Tampon Lollipops, Milk and Innards, Scum Cookie, Bobbing for Heads, Crispy Kids, Fetus Goulash, dude, awesome. This comes with an inner sheet, which has a picture of a mushroom cloud and somebody's extra crispy coconut. All the lyrics on the other side with the album cover in the background there. There were 3 versions of this. I don't even think you could get this on black vinyl. There was a like orange colored vinyl. There was a half black and half red, which was the most limited. It was limited to 50, and I could have grabbed that one, but I didn't, just because I have a couple records that are half black and half red. So I went for the Milk and Innards vinyl, which is like pink with a red sort of, not really splatter, I guess like marble. Very cool. Limited to 100 copies. But yeah, man, great shit. I'm so glad to have this one finally after all these years. And if you've never heard Skinless, or maybe if you just kind of stumbled on something that Skinless has done more recently and it's just a little bit too clean for you, give this one a shot. Can't go wrong. That's progression towards evil. Dude, I hope this video doesn't come out blurry. I'm not emotionally stable enough for it if it does. All right, moving on. This is a 2022 full-length album, and I'm really excited to get to talk about this band to a larger sort of audience here, because I feel like this band is very unappreciated, because I'd never really seen people talking about it. And this new album is so fucking good. Like, I have played this probably more than most other extreme metal releases so far that have come out of 2022. This one may be the one that I've played the most, apart from that Curtain Wall release that I talked about in the last video. Last video? I don't know. Alright, I just put something else on. It should start any second. Now we're listening to Astral Specter. This is a Phantom Nightmare. Really good shit. Kind of that psychedelic, rock-infused black metal type stuff. Very cool. This is Havohej with The Great Below. So the main guy behind this band, I saw an interview with him, and I'm pretty sure that he pronounced it Havohej. Don't know what it means. This band is from Sweden, and I don't know if that's a Swedish word. It doesn't really sound like it would be a Swedish word. So this band had a full-length album come out back in 2020, I think, and I don't own that one yet. However, it's really easy to get, which kind of is probably the reason why I haven't just grabbed one. But this is the 2022 full-length album, the second full-length album so far, The Great Below. And I've heard the first album and I absolutely prefer this one. Not really for any reason, they kind of are in the same vein, but this album just has so many memorable moments on it. This is basically, to describe it simply, it's a very melodic black metal record. And, you know, with very melodic comes very catchy, very memorable. I love the lyrics on this album. I don't even know if I have a favorite song. However, the second song, the title track, is probably the one I'll put in the the song clip. I love the chorus of that song. The song In Silence is another one of my absolute favorites. And I guess to sum it up to 3, maybe Sulphur Fire would be another favorite. But really everything on here from front to back, this is a goddamn 10 out of 10. The vocals here are kind of par for the course, black metal wretches, but they play perfectly with everything else going on, so you know, that's not a complaint by any means. I hope, probably more than anything else I show you in this video, I hope people go out and listen to this, because this is fucking great. There's the album cover. Very cool. Almost kind of looks like a H.P. Lovecraft monster there. The back cover is very simple. All the track listings put out through Black Lion Records. This does include an inner sheet with all the lyrics, and the vinyl itself is just black. I'm pretty sure there was other colors of this one, but I just grabbed it from the one and only US distro that had them when I looked, which was, I think, Miami Metal Merchant. Might be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't really need to talk much about this. Ultra melodic black metal. It's fucking wonderful. There's no way you can listen to this and not love it. And also have a functioning brain between your ears at the same time. So give it a whirl, man. That's The Great Below. Alright, moving on. From a brand new record to a pretty old one. This is a band that formed in Illinois in 1983. And in 1990, they put out their debut album, Master. So between the inception of Master and the debut full-length album, there was only 2 rehearsal demos. And to be honest, like, I am super duper unfamiliar with most of what Master has done. Like, I think I mentioned it 4 or 5 videos ago. Like, I only heard, like, really listened to Master for the first time this year. And I don't really know why I never, like, checked Master out. Because, like, I guess when you come into the game as late as somebody as young as I am, where, you know, I mean, I've been listening to extreme metal for like 15 years now, but even still, like, you come into it in the, you know, like 2000s, like you've got a huge backlog of shit that you have to sort of catch up with, and sometimes bands just kind of, you know, go under your radar, even popular bands like Master, and that's what happened here. Honestly, there are a few others that I can think of that I've probably just never really actually given the time to, that I probably should at some point. But after buying a CD which had this album on it, as well as like I don't know, there was like a second version of this album or something on it. So it had the original untriggered mix. It also had the triggered mix on it and an unreleased album, which has a lot of the same songs on it. So I'm not really sure exactly what that means, but whatever. So after getting that, I really liked the actual, just the album. And you know, being that I've wanted to fill some holes in my death metal collection with first presses, this one was pretty cheap, so I just grabbed it. Musically, it's good. There's lots of like gallopy drums on here, which I like. There's good riffs. The vocals are still kind of like those real early death metal vocals that kind of sound a bit thrashy. The lyrics are very like politically charged. Like Paul Speckman, I don't know anything about his political views, but I know he moved the fuck out of America, so maybe he's got some sense. Or he could also be crazy too. That's totally fucking possible. Like, he might be out here with fucking like chemtrails, vaccine conspiracies and shit, which I don't fuck like that. So, yeah, I think I already talked about the music on this one. I'm fucking out of it, dude. This is a 1990 nuclear blast press of this one. This is the first press. So it's got the embossed cover. Fuck, I almost said embalmed cover. Be kind of cool. Yeah, you can't really tell, but you can feel the logo. Only on the front though. The back cover has all of the track listing. I actually like kind of how the layout is on the back here. There's some weird shit on here though, like there's the Pledge of Allegiance kind of at the beginning of this album, which turns into a sort of more cynical version of the Pledge of Allegiance. There's a song on here that's entitled Bass Solo, and then Children of the Grave, which is a Black Sabbath cover. This does have the original inner sheet, which is cool. It's actually an inner sleeve, isn't it? Yeah, and it's got all the lyrics on it as well. The vinyl itself is just black. So your nuclear blast logo there, very cool. So I'm sure that I was the actually last person to discover Master, so I am not cluing anybody in, but it's a cool press. I'm excited to own it, and I wanted to show it off. So if you haven't heard it, if it's your first day at school and you haven't heard Master, check it out. Badass. Alright, I got a couple more, and I'm gonna wrap this up. So this is a 2022 album as well, and this is a record that is kind of I don't really know if you'd call it a comeback album. It's been a long time. It's been 11 years since this band's second full-length album. So, you know, if you want to call it a comeback album, then, you know, I wouldn't fault you for it. But this is a long time coming, and a lot of people were really, really excited for this one, and I was one of those people. This is Negative Plane with The Pact. So, Negative Plane. I actually just recently, if I knew it before, then I fucking totally forgot. I always thought that this band started in New York, but Metal Archive said they started in Florida. Which I had no clue. At least if I did have a clue, I'd fucking forgotten it, which I wouldn't put past my fried fucking noodle. Oh, man, it's gonna be a little bit tough to talk about this one, I think. So, Negative Plane, the two albums that came before this, in some ways were very similar, but in other ways they were quite different. And this album is kind of different from the other two as well. It's definitely got a lot of really good sort of like kind of hypnotic, almost psychedelic sounding like riffs and stuff on here. I think the trouble that I'm having that's keeping me from saying that I really love this album is the vocals are kind of weird. Like, they're very reverbed, which Negative Plane, you know, they've got a history with reverb vocals. Like, the vocals get harsh in parts, but like for the most part, they almost sound like somebody's just sort of yelling. You know, yelling maybe with a little bit of melody, but it just kind of sounds like somebody's singing with like a really loud voice, and then reverbing that. What I do like a lot is I love the presentation here. I like that this is a concept album. The story itself is quite cool. Yeah, I think I just need some more time with it, honestly. So maybe it wasn't the perfect time to pull this out and talk about it, but I played it through twice. And I really like it. I'm just, something's keeping me from saying that I love this record. And I definitely think that this album is played best as a whole, instead of breaking it up into like you know, just playing like a song somewhere in the middle. The songs are definitely stronger, like in context, and it is a good record. I love like hypnotic, psychedelic, trancey riffs, and this one's got a bunch of those. So, you know, the album cover is very cool. It just kind of looks like a storage room in like an old church or something. There's the back cover right there. All the track listing. This was put out through Invictus and Ajna. It does come with a little sticker, which I don't think I've seen that until right now. It comes with a libretto style booklet, which not only gives you the lyrics, but it kind of gives you a little explanation of what each song is about, which I like. And each song comes with a bit of artwork, which is very, very nice. Like I said, the presentation here is tops. And on the back of this booklet, there's kind of like the explanation of what the story of this album is. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It is kind of about like an architect and the construction and eventual destruction of a church. It also kind of tells the story of like a caretaker who basically gets buried beneath the church. I don't know. It's a cool story, and I think that I need to just go through and listen to the whole thing again. Read the lyrics, all of it, because I think that this is just waiting to click with me. This is a double LP. All copies on black vinyl, so I'm not going to bother pulling them out. But yeah, man, I'm curious for anybody else who has played this album all the way through, what you thought about it, because, you know, there was definitely a lot of hype for another Negative Plane record, so I'm curious if it lived up to your expectations. And if you haven't heard it yet, definitely give it a shot and let me know regardless. So, yeah, I dig it. Negative Plane, The Pact. All right, let's finish this off. This is a band that I've never talked about before on this channel because I've never owned anything from this band until I got this. This is Vestments, maybe? With Breviary du Chaos. I should have looked up what those things mean, huh? I think that the problem, like the reason that I never owned anything from this band is kind of just that, like, it never really seemed to pop up in US distros. Like, I think this is the first thing that I ever saw show up in an American distro, and it was actually on Hell's Headbangers. It actually, there was a second record too, but I don't remember which one. It might have been the one before this. Or maybe it was even the first album, I don't remember. This is the third album from 2016, I think. This album is basically like smack dab right in the middle of the discography. So what I love so much about this album is I love the very aggressive presentation of really interesting like riffs and guitar work. Like on the surface, if you're just kind of listening to it in the background, it definitely sounds like an aggressive black metal record. But there's so much here. And there's lots of little intricacies in the vocals and the music that just keep your attention. And I really want to get more of this band's stuff because like everything I've heard has been really good. Because I always think it's cool when like a band is able to achieve some balance between aggression and almost like friendly sounding melodies. And this album does that perfectly. The vocals here kind of are honestly on a pretty wide spectrum from like black metal sort of normal retches to like yells to sort of croaky shouts. Really cool. I like the vocals on here all the way through in all their variations. Yeah, and honestly I like the presentation of this quite a bit too. It almost looks like propaganda art. Yeah, I dig it. There is the back cover there. This band is from France, which I don't think I mentioned, but here's a picture of Paris there. All the track titles are in French, as are the lyrics, I think. Yes, all the lyrics are in fact in French. There's the inner sleeve there, very cool. And the vinyl itself is on this really nice red. I like the labels. Very nice. Sorry if I kind of sped through this one. Actually, I didn't show you the fucking gatefold. How long have I been doing this? Almost 10 years. Holy shit. I think I just sent myself into an existential fucking tailspin. Yes, the gatefold. Fuck. There's the two members, I guess. I really like the presentation of all of this, which I know I've said a couple times. Picture of a couple of noggins there, and whatever that is behind the noggins. Again, big spine. I like the big spines. Very nice. If that absolute fucking mess of a description of an album sounded appealing to you at all, or if it was so bad that you just have to hear what it actually sounds like, definitely give this one a whirl, man. I like this album, and I want to keep my eyes out for more of the releases, because everything I've heard has been great. They actually had a new album come out this year. I wonder if that one's relatively accessible. I might check after I'm done filming this bullshit. But for now, give that one a whirl. That's Vestments with Breviary du Chaos. All right, that's it. That is the conclusion of what may be the worst video I've ever fucking made. This is separated into 5 different videos on this camera, if that gives you an idea of just how poorly this went. I'm gonna chalk this one up to the fuzzy state that I'm in right now. I'm gonna try and edit this tonight, and maybe I'll even have this one up tomorrow because I have literally nothing else to do. So yeah, thanks for sticking through it. You're a goddamn soldier if you did, and we will talk soon. Later.